What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Adam. I'm already laughing at some of the comments. We got Robot Nielsen 5434. Don't beg so hard, dude. I like your videos, but this is slowly but surely turning into an e-begging platform. And then I didn't even have time to jump in on this because I just saw it myself. And somebody jumped right on it, was like, how? He's spoken on this many times and asked people to buy photos and art. And commenters demanded that he put up donation links. We begged him to allow us to donate. To me, it seems clear Adam works for a living. People help because they want to. And then this dude jumps back and he's like, what do you mean, how? He just said he created an Amazon wish list, of which, as of today, I've put nothing on it. Somebody asked me to. Somebody gave me the idea and I was like, yeah, sure, why not? On top of his digital chicken bucket, I'm just sad that he's turned into such a grifter. Just my perspective. So, with that, just for you, I'm going to grift for a few minutes. You can go to my store at shop.litgood.com, where right now I have not had time to update that. And my goal is to have thousands of photos for you to look at and purchase. Motivational posters that I'm designing and some other things that are more graphic design oriented, and just I haven't thought about t-shirts, and I don't know, t-shirts are kind of corny in my opinion, but people like them, so I mean, maybe I'll do it. And yes, I do have a digital chicken bucket at donate.litgood.com. And I did it because people told me, a commenter told me straight up, you're an asshole for not doing it. When I was homeless, I didn't want to have a chicken bucket for people to throw money in. I felt like if you want to throw money my way, buy something from me. I would still rather have people do that or hire me to do something than to just, shake a chicken bucket on the side of the road and have people throw money in it. But when I look at it from the perspective of other platforms and other people do podcasting and things like that, I'll go to the No Agenda podcast. They're Adam Curry and John Dvorak's podcast. They've been around forever. Their entire podcast is based on people donating to their show. And they've got money. This dude, John Dvorak, lives in San Francisco. The cheapest house I ever saw in San Francisco was a single wide trailer that was all broke down and dilapidated with a tree growing up through the middle of it on a lot that was like 50 feet wide by 20 feet wide. And that was $160,000. That was the cheapest thing I ever saw in San Francisco. He lives in Sausalito, I think, on the other side of the bay, and that shit's expensive. Adam Curry, he ain't hurting for money, but people donate. They usually get about $1,000 to $2,000 a show because they talk about it. They tell you what people donated, and they read, messages from people that throw them money and stuff like that. So these guys that don't need money do a podcast twice a week, and they get money strictly from donations. They don't do advertisements, endorsements. They don't do anything. They don't want to be influenced by advertisers telling them what they're allowed to say and not say. So people fund their show that way. So there's a guy I watch, what's his name? Rich Cooper. He's a multimillionaire. He drives around in a fucking... He does some of his YouTube videos, he drives around in a McLaren. He's got an Audi R8, he's got a McLaren, he's got some expensive ass BMW. He's got a whole fucking big giant multi-car garage full of expensive cars. The dude's got books and all kinds of shit and seminars. He charges people like $200 an hour to give them dating advice and shit like that. but people are throwing him money as donations, super thanks and all that kinds of stuff. Super thanks, which you can do right below the video here on YouTube. That's another way you can throw in. But yes, I did put up an Amazon wish list, and I don't have a link to it in the description. I haven't put anything in it. I was just fucking around with it. And because a lot of people are like, I'd like to throw Adam $5. But, what's he going to do with $5? Well, here, let me tell you. Somebody yesterday, you know who you are. If you're watching the video, you threw $5 in the digital chicken bucket. And ironically, I had just ordered, I had to do an Amazon order. I'll get into that in a minute. Sometimes things just pop up that I need to do. And so I got paid yesterday. Check did come in the mail. I was worried about that, but I'm on this topic right now. So I had to place an Amazon order. As part of my Amazon order, I was like going through the list of things that I need for the house, and I'm like, is there anything cheap I can throw on this order since they're delivering it tomorrow morning? I ordered it at like 7 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night, and they told me that I qualified for next morning delivery between 7 a.m. and 11 a.m. And I'm like, that's perfect. And so the one thing that I actually needed to get done is already done. And it came at 8 in the morning before I even had my first meeting this morning on Zoom. It was hung up and the thing is done. I had to get a mailbox to put on the front of the house. $25, I got one. Looks nice. I got a mailbox, boom, right next to the door. So now when I get mail, whoever puts the mail has a slot. They can drop it in. I can pick it up when I get home. It's not going to get rained on. It's not going to get ruined. So perfect, because I do get money. I get checks for my work. I do work for a living too. One of the other trolls, one of the ones I kicked off, said, all this asshole's ever going to do for the rest of his life is work in a bakery. I do work at a bakery 2 days a week, sometimes 3 days a week, for $13 an hour. Do you think anybody could afford to live in an apartment of any kind at all in the city of Houston? The slummiest, shittiest dump of an apartment, like a tool shed that I was living in before. Do you think somebody could afford to live in that, working 2 to 3 days a week at $10 to $13 an hour to pay the bills to live in a place like that? Even in a place like that, no, you can't afford that on that pay. So obviously I have to be doing something else. I talk about it all the time. I'm doing freelance design, and I've got, a few other little hustles going on. So no, I'm not relying on people throwing money into a fucking chicken bucket to survive. But people do, and so like somebody threw $5 in there yesterday. And you might be thinking, well, what the fuck is $5? It's gonna, well, first of all, it helps out because I do get lunch. I get breakfast when I ride my bicycle into the bakery. I usually go to Chick-fil-A and I get something to eat. It works out. I get hungry as hell going 22 miles into work, and then I don't want to just eat a sugar bomb, a big giant cookie before I work. I want some protein or something. So it's easier to do that than it is to take food with me. But specifically last night, I had to order a mailbox for the front of the house here. I needed some chain lube for my bicycles. I threw that on the order because it was cheap. And I also decided to get the 100% here for the cast iron pan right there that you see. I needed to get 100% cotton waffle pattern rags so that I can season those pans when I cook. Too much lint gets on the pan from a paper towel, and the other waffle pattern cloths that I bought, turns out they're synthetic fiber, so when you wipe the pan down when it's hot, they melted. And I don't know. I've cooked on it a few times, so whatever plastic got into my pan it's in my belly now. But the pan is nice and seasoned now, but there was a little bit of lint from the paper towels I was using. So I'm like, all right, I'll get the waffle pattern 100% cotton rags. They were $5. Threw it on the order last night, and then I turn around this morning and see that somebody threw $5 in the chicken bucket last night, and it went back into my account this morning, and I'm like, oh, someone just bought me some 100% cotton rags for my cast iron pan. Perfect. That's awesome. I got the five, so it's like I didn't even spend the $5 on my because the $5 went right back into my account in the morning. So I bought the rags last night, got them in my hands this morning, woke up to find out that the $5 was back in my account. Oh, cool. So you bought me some black 100% cotton waffle pattern dish rags that are perfect for seasoning cast iron pans, and that's what they'll be used for. The ones that I bought, the synthetic ones, I'll probably use them to just lay out on the counter when I'm drying dishes and stuff like that, and I'll use them for something. And then the one that got melted, I guess I'm just going to wash that and throw it in my bicycle rag bin and use it as a bike shop rag, because it's pretty much useless for anything else at this point. So there's the grift, and we'll leave it at that. But, just for you, for leaving that comment, I'm going to make sure not to forget to grift first thing on the video. Got good 10 minutes of grifting out of today's video. So, but I don't care if people want to do that or not. I'm not doing the videos to get people, give me money, give me money, give me money. I'm not Joel Osteen down here in Houston with 70,000 people showing up to my church on Sunday, passing around a fucking collection plate so that I can put gas in my private jet. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of people out there that you can grift away. You can give all your money to those grifters instead. But, if you appreciate what's going on here, you can go to shop.litgood.com, donate.litgood.com, and I'll make up a funny domain name for my Amazon wish list. But you could go, somebody even just told me last week that they found my Amazon wish list and they were disappointed that I didn't have anything in it. And I'm like, I just mentioned it and I set it up, and I think Amazon has like a time limit that, like, even if I do fill it up with stuff, that it has an expiration date. It doesn't just sit there open-ended. So I don't know. I haven't even had time to think about like what to do with that yet. But I'll put it up there. I'll put a URL for it. I'll put it in the description below when I get around to it. But believe me, if my primary objective was grifting, I would have had that done by now. I would have been pimping that thing out every video. Donate, 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 donate. Do it now. Do it now. Just watching the videos, just showing up, just leaving your comments are enough. That's cool with me. I'm cool. You're cool. And I'm not deleting this guy's account. I'm not calling you a troll. You're cool. You leave comments all the time. Sometimes I'll disagree, sometimes I'll agree. I'm gonna disagree on this one. We'll leave it at that. But we can all be friends. We can all get along. That's fine. The only accounts that I'm specifically deleting from this moment forward that I have been are pure 100% trolls that do nothing but show up and act like douchebags. And it usually it's gonna take a few douchebaggery comments for me to just go block. I'm not going to just do it right out of the gate. But there's this, I figured out that 4 different trolls were the same person because of how they behaved when I blocked the one that kept coming back to video after video after video, leaving the same douchebag comments over and over again. And some of you even got into fights with the person or whatever, the bot, whatever it was. Finally, I just was like, all right, you're done. Psst. Out of here. And came right back with another YouTube account and started leaving the exact same comments. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, this is the same fucking guy. And not only is it the same guy, the one account would leave a comment and then the other account would show up and reply to that comment, and they would have a conversation with each other, but they're the same fucking dude. They're the same fucking person. Because somebody left a comment, I kicked them off because I'm just like, I'm over it. You've You've been leaving comments for over a year, douchebag comments on hundreds of videos. All I had to do is push one button and you're fucking gone, and all your comments are gone with you. Somebody comes right back with another account, leaves the exact same comment. All right, see ya, bitch. Out. You're out. That quick. And then the next day, another account shows up and does a copy paste job and just copies and pastes the same comment over multiple videos, over and over and over and over again. All right, see ya. You're out. That quick. It's that fucking fast. And then he spins up another account and posts the same comment on a whole bunch more videos over and over. Just copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. Peace out, bitch. You're out. It's that fast. 2 clicks of my finger or the mouse and you're out the door. It's that fast. So keep spinning up Google accounts. It takes more time to spin up a fucking Google account just to leave a douchebag comment on somebody's channel who has just over 1,000 followers. Nobody gives a fuck about my channel except for the people that keep coming back. But this guy feels the need. This motherfucker's got a vendetta or something, because he don't feel like it's a big deal to start up a new YouTube account every time I kick him off. He'll be back. He'll be back. Go ahead. Start up 25 fucking YouTube accounts and Google accounts to leave a stupid comment on my channel just to get whacked again and again and again. Keep doing it. I don't give a fuck. I think it's fucking hilarious that I'm actually pissing you off even more by doing that than I would if I had just left a douchebag comment in response to your douchebag comments. So, whatever. Anyway, so there's a bunch of other comments I could respond to, but I'm just going to talk about kind of what happened yesterday and something like one of the lessons I learned yesterday. And, maybe that'll be useful for you. So, and if it's useful for you, there's a lot of different links in the description below where I can grift and you can just throw money in my chicken bucket and all that, because I'm just a grifter. And that's all I came here for, was to get money out of everybody who watches this video. If you're not paying up, get the fuck out. So here we go. Oh boy, oh, come on. I know I put this stuff in here. Okay, here we go. So I was talking from the park bench yesterday, the swing, about how my day went at the bakery. I had to do 3 bakery blitzes, 3 days in a row with a day off because we're not open. So I had to do Friday, Saturday, Monday. Friday was all right. Friday was normal, felt normal. Saturday was rough. I came home Saturday completely destroyed. In fact, I've got the evidence to show for it. I can show you physically what this is doing to me. And then I got the day off yesterday, or 2 days ago, which was Sunday. And that was tough because I didn't have the energy I needed to do work on my bikes. I needed to replace the brake pads on the Silver Bullet because I'm down to the metal posts and grinding metal on metal. And so I have the brake pads. I just need to do the work. I didn't have the energy to do that on Sunday. So what I did do was take a couple of boxes of clothes that needed to be folded, sorted, and put away, mostly because of the move. And so I got through it. I'm down to 2 boxes that have been 2 boxes of stuff I haven't even gone through since I moved in here. From there, the projects will involve going through this antique desk that's right next to me and sorting out everything in it and organizing that. Organizing all the different bags and stuff that are on these shelves. And just kind of like narrowing in on smaller and smaller, doing smaller projects that will take time to do, but over time, cumulatively, I will be extremely organized and everything will have its home and everything will be in its place. And as long as I can continue to just live like that moving forward, I don't really take steps backward anymore whenever I fix a problem with being organized, I tend to keep it that way. I might fall behind on some of the things, but I don't fall so far behind that it's a massive undertaking to fix and get caught back up again. So I did a little bit of that on Sunday, and it worked out good. It turned out to be a good use of my time and energy level. The energy level I was at when I went to bed on Sunday night, I had a nice clean place, and it was cleaner than it's been since I moved in. It was better. But there's, everywhere I look, I see something that needs to be done and addressed and dealt with that's going to cost money and time. And your home is a really never-ending project. If you do take pride in your home and you want to live in a nice, comfortable, clean, organized place, and the bigger your home, the more it becomes an issue, and it's something that you never stop working on. One of the manager where I work at the bakery, she's always talking about her yard work, and she enjoys it because it's like calming. It's like her Zen thing that she does. She has like a meticulously maintained yard and a landscape, and like she likes that's fun for her. And I could say the same thing about my space. The more I get done and the better I make my space, the better I feel. And so it's just part of my sanity recovery right now. So I did that on Sunday. Then I had to go to the bakery again yesterday, and I talked about how rough that was. And at some point in the afternoon, I had just finished doing all of the deliveries, 50-pound bags of flour, sugar, brown sugar, cocoa powder, all the things, lifting and stacking boxes and bags all day long for 3 hours roundabout. And I usually take a break as soon as I'm done with that, because I'm like this when I get done. But we were shorthanded this week, so they were like, can you help us with this other thing? And that other thing took about an hour, and I get done and I'm like, can I take a break now? Oh, come on, let me take a break. And they're like, well, can you help us with this other thing we need? And I'm like, fuck. And I knew this other thing turned into more than it was 2 hours into this other thing. Now I'm like 3 hours past. There's like only an hour and a half left, an hour and 45 minutes before I go home. And I'm like losing it because I'm really like, I don't have the energy anymore. I'm done. And then outside, the clouds come in. It starts a massive torrential downpour. Crazy, tropical downpour. Houston is a tropical climate. It's not palm trees and the foliage that you would expect in the tropics, but we're in a tropical zone. And so it rains like crazy sometimes. And it's just downpour. And I'm like, looking out the window, looking at everything just soaking wet. And I'm like, now I got to ride home in this. I'm not even going to get to take a break. And I'm like, I'm not even going to get to take a break today. And I got to ride home in this. And even if my paycheck showed up in the mail today, it's going to be all rained on. And it's going to be all wet. And it's going to get ruined. And I'm not, and I'm just like, and I'm like hangry. Hangry was the best way to put it. But hangry and just going in this downward spiral of thought, right? And so I reached the point where, in fact, do I even have what Jesus Calling said to me June 23rd? It was. So, okay, yesterday's Jesus Calling that I read before I went to work from the book Jesus Calling by Sarah Young. I read this before I went to work. Jesus told me, let my love stream through you, washing away fear and distrust. A trusting response includes me in your thoughts as you consider strategies to deal with a situation. My continual presence is a promise, guaranteeing that you never have to face anything alone. My children teeth on the truth that I am always with them, yet they stumble around in a stupor, unaware of my loving presence all around them. How that grieves me. When you walk through a day in trusting dependence on me, my aching heart is soothed. Gently bring your attention back to me whenever it wanders away. And then it says, I look for persistence rather than perfection in your walk with me. And I'll tell you that one of the other ones that I read a day or two in the same stretch of days that I'm talking about had to do, the general topic was, when you're having a problem, bring it to me and then stop worrying about it. Just if you're worried about something, if you get overwhelmed, bring your problems to me, let me handle it, and you stop worrying about it. I got it. And so these two things combined in my head, because obviously I'm stumbling around in a stupor, unaware that God gives a shit about me, and I'm not trusting him. My attention had wandered away, especially when I looked out the window and I see that it's downpouring, and all of a sudden I'm like, this is what I'm gonna have to ride my bike home in. I'm not even gonna get to take a freaking break today. I'm exhausted already from what I've been through this weekend with the 155 miles of bicycling plus the 3 shifts at the bakery and not even having any energy on Sunday and all this crap, and I'm not even getting my mail on time, and all these things are just the downward spiral of I didn't get my mail the other day. It kept going down and down to where now I'm going to get home and my check's going to be all covered in water, and then I'm not going to be able to pay my rent, and I'm going to be homeless again, and just blah, all the way down. You don't even want to know how far down the rabbit hole my thoughts can go when I start on that fucking journey. And so I was like, God, I just at some point, I'm like, I recognize what's going on in my head, and this isn't happening on the outside. I'm cool with everybody I work with, but this is what's going on inside my head. And I just kind of take a deep breath. I'm like, Jesus, can you please come put the brakes on this train? Those are my exact words. Can you put the brakes on this train and stop it? And there's an irony there. I even said it in the video yesterday when I'm sitting at the park. Let me finish the story here. So I asked God to put the brakes on the train and stop me from going down this path. I'm telling you, not even 2 minutes after I asked God to step in, here's what happens next. We're really busy. There's a ton of customers coming in. I'm working on the thing that they asked me to finish before I took a break. But the thing, I've got at least I'm doing the thing by myself. It's like a 3-person job. I'm doing it on my own. So yeah, it's going to take some time to finish. But the other 2 employees are going absolutely out of their mind trying to help all the customers. There's a line of customers and it just never ends. As soon as the manager got there for her shift, it picked up and it was just boom, 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 boom. She was looking at me with a smile on her face. She's like, I don't know about this fucking shit. I'm fucking sick of this fucking shit. She was making, and I'm just like, I'm just going to sit here doing my cookie balls and I'm like, leave me out of it. You want to take care of the customers, I'll do this. It needs to be done. Somebody needs to be doing this job that I'm doing. But I'm like, I'm not going to be getting no fucking break today. That's what I'm thinking in my head. I need a fucking break. I'm just losing it. So another employee shows up for work, and then another one shows up for work, and I'm like, oh yes, here we go. But this is all within 2 minutes of me asking God to help. A couple more employees show up for work, and there's a lull in the customers. There's a break for 5 minutes where there's no customers and everybody can just fucking chill for a minute. And I look over, I'm like, you mind if I take a break? I'm like, I'm out. I get out of there so fast. I grab a cheesecake. I throw a bunch of extra stuff on it. I'm like, I'm going all out today. I took a chocolate cheesecake. I threw a big old ice cream scoop of peanut butter mousse. And then I took some white, and then I dropped a bunch of crumbled up Reese's peanut butter cups on top of that, and then I took some white chocolate and just went like this made a grid pattern on the top. Because everything was cold, the white chocolate just froze instantly and became like a rock hard chocolate grid on top. Fucking brilliant. It was so good. So good. But you're looking at like, that's like 1,500 calories in a giant sugar bomb right there. Just bam. And, but I took that to the back and I'm hiding in the back. I'm just eating this thing and just chilling. And I have about an hour and 15 minutes left when my break is over, and then I get to go home. And so I'm like, okay, I got my energy back, and I was okay. I got past the mental stuff. I was just, messing around on the internet, reading comments from the trolls on YouTube, and just, whatever, just getting through my day. And so then I decide, okay, I'm done. My break's over. I wash out my coffee mug and fill it up with water for the ride home. And I walk around to the front and get back to work. And I look out the window. It's bright and sunny outside and everything's dry. Like that happens a lot here in Houston. It'll be torrential downpour to where the whole parking lot starts to turn into a lake. And then the sun comes out and 10 minutes later, everything's bone dry, as if it never even rained in the first place. And it was like that. And I was like, holy crap, this is I asked God for help, and he slammed on the brakes and stopped that train dead in its tracks. The sun came out, everything dried. When I left to go home, everything was dry, not a drop of water. In the shady parts. Now, I decided yesterday I was going to take the bicycle paths through the woodlands, and I just didn't have any energy, and I just wanted to take the slowest leisurely pace that I could take to get home, because I had no energy. And so I'm just like, I need to go home, but I need to just chill at the same time. So I decided when I got to the park bench swing, I'd sit down and shoot a video with you all, and it turned into like a 55-minute video. So that's really pushing me down the road to get home later and later. But I didn't care. There was another bike trail that I wanted to try, but there's a missing segment. And it kind of sucks, actually, because Exxon has their global headquarters or whatever right not too far from where I live. And there's this little piece of land that they need to connect this Spring Creek Greenway trail from here to here. And it's just this little sliver of land that is missing for that whole bike trail to be connected. And Exxon won't let go of it and let them fucking finish the trail. Just fucking douchebags, it's like you did enough to, Exxon had to pay the state of Alaska millions of dollars because of all the fucking oil that washed up on shore during the Exxon Valdez disaster back in I think it was in the 1990s. Like there's all kinds of parks and all kinds of shit that Exxon had to build for the state of Alaska. But you fucking greedy little cocksuckers can't give away a piece of land this fucking big on the Google map so that we can have our bike trail. And that bike trail would actually, if they could connect that one little fucking piece of the bike trail, nobody would have to take the Route 45 access road on a bicycle anymore to get to and from the other side of Spring Creek. In fact, you'd be able to cross Spring Creek without being on a fucking road, which you can already do. But if they connected that Spring Creek Greenway, it comes really close to my new place where I live right now. There's a park at the end of my street, and the Spring Creek Greenway goes right through that park. So I could conceivably add a couple more miles to my bike ride in the morning, but I could take a 24-mile bike ride and make it so that only 2 miles of it were on roads. I could go all the way to where I work, 24 miles, and do 2 miles on roads, and the rest of it on bike trails that are not allowed to be driven on by cars. If Exxon, those greedy little corporate cocksuckers, could just give away this little piece of land on the edge of the fucking land that they have their headquarters on. Like you can see the end of the Spring Creek Greenway trail where it stops, where it reaches their land, and then you see where it picks back up again, and there's this little tiny chunk missing. And you can't get to that spot to get on the trail. even by going, like, I looked at it. I wanted to try yesterday, and I'm like, I'm going to have to hike through the fucking woods without any kind, I'm going to have to go out there sometime without having the agenda of having to be somewhere and see if there's a back-ass way that I can make it connect. And if I can, that gives me another option for getting to and from where I work, so that on a day when I have no energy and I'm just not feeling it, I can just take the leisurely bike path and go on a cruise. And if I'm trying to go fast, you gotta take the roads, because the bike paths are just too windy and they're just too slow. But yesterday it was perfect for me because it gives me something to do scenery wise, and it just, like, your perception of time is different when you're riding on a bike trail like that, enjoying nature rather than on a road dodging traffic. The time goes by differently, and it takes longer to get home, but it feels like the time went by quicker. So that's what I was doing yesterday. And but anyway, I'm on my way. So I scrap that idea. I have to do some more research to see if it's viable, if there's a way to do it. Like, even if I have to take, even if I do have to walk over, or there's got to be a way I can do it. But I wasn't going to try and figure it out on the fly yesterday. So I ended up going down through this one neighborhood called Oldtown Spring. It's like a little shopping district, historical buildings. There's a whole bunch of bars, restaurants, mom and pop shops, hundreds. There's like 150 businesses all clustered in this little area of Spring. And it's not on my way home directly, but it's a nice way to I can cut a little climb up and over some railroad tracks by going through Oldtown Spring. And it doesn't really take me any longer to get home, except for when I get to the railroad tracks, there's a fucking train stopped dead cold, just parked on the train tracks, blocking me from getting to the other side of the tracks. And I'm like, how ironic is that? I asked God, like, what was it, 2-3 hours ago, God, I'm going down this downward spiral, and I said, hey, God, can you stop this train on the tracks? Can you put the brakes on this train of thought and get me to stop going down this path? And now, on my path to get home, I'm like 2 miles from home, and there's a train stopped, dead in its tracks. Stopped. Not moving slow, just stopped. Blocking me from getting to the other side of the tracks. And it's not like you can climb over the gate and then, like, climb under. Like, I was thinking, like, I could just go around the gate and climb in between the two train cars and come out the other side and just go. Like, I thought about that for a second, and I'm like, you're on federal probation. If you fuck around with a train, that gets the feds involved. If you can't fucking do that. No. And then wouldn't it just be my luck that as soon as I try to do that, the train starts moving again? And I'm like, no, the train stopped cold. So I had to get out Google Map and kind of look around at what my options were. And then I looked down and I'm like, oh, there's another train crossing down there. And the train wasn't blocking it. So it turned out to be no big deal at all. I just had to I actually had to cut through Oldtown Spring to get to the other train crossing that wasn't blocked by the train that was just sitting still. And so I was able to get around it and go through, but I got to see more of the little town there. And so I actually have an idea that it's 2 miles away. I can walk there. So on like a weekend or something, like maybe, I don't know what day it's going to be, but sometime I'm going to go down there and I'm just going to bounce around to the different businesses and saying, hey, you guys hiring? And see if I can, because a mom and pop business like that typically aren't going to do background checks. Maybe I can find a laid back job working at a fucking shop down in the Oldtown Spring, just sitting behind a counter ringing people up all day, or stocking shelves or whatever. There's restaurants down there too, but that's hard work. That might actually be worse than going to the bakery. if you work at a restaurant that's super busy. But either way, it gave me some ideas. I could find a part-time job where I don't have to go 24 miles each way, 22 miles, whatever the hell it is. But I just thought it was kind of funny that on my way home, I asked God to put the brakes on the train, and here's a train blocking my path that had the brakes put on, stopped in the middle of my path. That train's probably going to be sitting there for an hour. How do I get on to the other side of the tracks? And I was kind of like, I was a little irritated until I figured out that it wasn't a big deal, and I went around. And then I get home, because I'm only 2 miles away from where the train was stopped. I get home, and what do I see sticking out the crack of my door jamb is the 2 envelopes that I'm waiting for that were a day late because of the federal holiday last week, just as I thought. And they had a few water drops on them, but they didn't get wet. Nothing got ruined. In fact, I'm going to pick it up right now and double check. But yeah, no, the envelopes are dry. Everything's fine. Nothing got ruined. I can go and make my deposit today or tomorrow. Probably tomorrow. I'm not feeling it today. Supposedly, this crappy bank that I deal with, I'm supposed to have mobile deposit on their app, but either it's not active for my account or I don't know how to find it in the app. This fucking bank sucks. But either way, I can deposit this check today or tomorrow, and I'm good to go. Like, I had nothing to worry about. I was all getting worked up about it, etc., etc. And as soon as I got home last night, I'm like, oh, there's my check. Cool. Okay, we're good to go. But the fact that it was just stuck in the door jamb last night, I was like, this isn't going to fly for the, if I'm going to stay in this place for a year. Why the landlord didn't do it already, I don't know. But I got a mailbox, $25 for a vertical mailbox. It's got a locking thing, so it's got a slot. It's got a lid to keep the water out. You open it up, there's a slot, a big slot. Drop the mail down in it. It's got a clear little window at the bottom so I can see if there's mail in it. And then, so you can drop mail into the box. And if I come home and I see that there's something in the box, I can come inside, get my key, go back out, turn the key, the whole front of the thing folds down, you can get your mail out. It's big enough for a magazine. It's like if I got magazines, which I don't, but if I got a magazine in the mail, you can throw the magazines in there. It's big enough for that. $25. It showed up at 8 o'clock this morning. I went out with my drill and a screwdriver bit and just zip, 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 zip. Got it put on the front of the house in, I think it was 5 minutes. It took about 5 minutes to get that thing installed in the front of the house. And now I've got a mailbox. Good to go. So I'm good with that. I got a mailbox. Now I've got a proper place to put my mail. I don't got to worry about rain. I don't think it's waterproof in a torrential downpour like some of the ones that we get, etc. It might not be the best at keeping everything dry, but it's going to give it a chance. I mean, even at my house in Mercer, PA, in Amish country, I had a regular mailbox, with the flap you pull down on the front, whatever. There were a couple of times that we had some torrential downpours there. And I'd go out to the mailbox and open it up and all my mail is soaking wet. So, not very often, but it happened from time to time. Once or twice it was a check. And I had to come inside and lay the check out on the table and let it dry and try to come back to life. But I had mobile deposit on my banking app there. And so I was able to dry out the check enough that I could, with the mobile deposit app, and it didn't have any problems depositing the checks into my account. But not everything, I don't do everything direct deposit. My paychecks from my job are direct deposit, but every now and then I'd get a check in the mail for one reason or another. And I remember once or twice that a check got completely soaked from the mailbox letting water into it. and I had to dry out my mail before I could, and had to be real careful, opening everything. Don't rip anything. Hope for the best. And when it all dried out, put something heavy, some parchment paper and weight on top of it to flatten everything out, and just let it dry and whatnot, and just hope for the best. And turned out that everything worked out. Was able to make my deposit. So I'm just trying to prevent $25. Got a mailbox. If the landlord won't let me take things like that out of the rent, then when it's time to move, I just take my screwdriver, zip, 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 take it with me. It's gone. I'll take it to the new place. I'll use it somewhere else. Let's see. So anyway, I decided to add up my bicycling stats since I did some serious miles in the last 4 days. And so as of today, which is June 24th, I'm at 2,495.8 miles recorded to Strava. And that's 2,436 miles on a bicycle and about 58 miles walking. I haven't been walking that much this year. Last year I went 592 miles walking. Walked. And that was from May 1st, my first walk. That was from May 1st till sometime in September, because after September I stopped walking and started taking a bike everywhere. So in January this year, 141 miles. February, 484. March, 589. So far, that's the longest. April, 530 miles. May, 399. In June, so far, I've gone 353. I might hit 441 by the end of June because I've got 2 more rides to the bakery to do before the month ends. So that's pretty much where I'm going to be. The average number of miles from January to May was 428.6 per month. And I'm not factoring in June for the average. So if I get 441 for June, that will make the monthly average tick up by maybe a decimal point. Right now, for the remaining 6 months of the year, starting July, I have to go 402 miles per month to hit 5,000 miles. My goal for the year was 2,000. I've already blown through that. That's gone. So maybe if 5,000, maybe I'll get 5,000 by the end of the year. But I need 402 per month. And I don't get that every month. I got 399 for the month of May. But June I might hit 441. So that'll average out on the up. It's going to be close. I think 5,000 is I don't think it's doable, to be honest, because I have the goal of getting that car delivered here. As soon as I get past next month's rent payment, which is going to be a doozy because it's got 50% secure. 50% of my rent has to be added to my rent for the remainder of the security deposit that I owe the guy. So that's going to tap me out. But if I get a car, that might just put the kibosh on me racking up miles at the pace I'm at now with the bicycle. It's, because I'm not going to be riding I will ride my bicycle to the bakery and back if I'm still working there. I will do that. I like doing it. It's fun. It's fun when I'm on the bike. But I would probably reserve it for when the weather's good. Like if there's if I see that there's very little chance of rain, I'm gonna go. I probably won't do it when it's cold, but I'll still do it because the exercise is good for me and I still enjoy doing it. But if I had like 3 days in a row, Friday, Saturday, Monday, going to the bakery and back, if I had a car, I probably would have rode my bike Saturday and drove on Friday and Monday. or rode my bicycle on Friday and then drove Saturday and Monday when I'm pretty much depleted. So that's the kind of stuff I would do. And if I had a car, I would I would make my schedule more open. I'd work, later shifts where I'm coming home in the dark. I could get more hours working at the bakery by having a car, just for the simple fact that, the 3 hours that I spend commuting on a bicycle would be, a half-hour drive in a car. Each way, I'd spend about an hour in a car, and that's if there's traffic. If there's no traffic, probably 20 minutes. I don't know. But anyway, so, 5,000 miles is more than twice the goal that I set for myself this year. And to be honest, I think that'll probably be the longest adventure distance for a single year that I've ever put in my life. I think it already is the longest adventure distance I've put in a single year. I went back and I looked at a year, 2015, where I went on an 800-mile bike ride. I did a couple of 350-mile bicycle rides, and the total number of miles of adventure that I did that year was still like 1,700 for the whole year. Because the only bike rides I went on in 2015 were 80 miles, 350, 750, 800, whatever. There was like an 800 miler, a couple of 300-ish, and like an 80 miler, I think. Yeah, an 80 miler. And so but I would only get on my bicycle if I was going to go a long distance. I never did any short bike rides that year. And then I went on lots of little hikes with my friends, like 3 miles here, 2 miles there, 5 miles there. Hikes. It added up to like 1,700 miles for the year. So I don't know. I know all the math. If you were to do the math I just told you, it doesn't add up. But I'm just kind of estimating in my head. I did not go on any short bicycle rides that year at all. If I sat my seat on the bicycle, I was going at least 80 miles. Up to 800. But I only did it a few times. I didn't do this like on a regular basis. This was like a vacation for me to go do those things. But right now, I feel like the cycling, and I feel like I'm doing my body more harm than good right now. Even though the cycling is making me stronger, I'm in a period of time right now, because rest and recovery have to work with, you have to rest and recover at the same time you're working out. And right now the working out is having more harm than good. I'm feeling it in my body that I'm actually getting more tired and less strong lately than I was back in like April. During the month of April, during the month of May, I felt like I was getting stronger and stronger. But now I feel like I'm getting weaker just because I'm worn out. And I need like 3 weeks where I don't get on the bicycle once. Just take off the bike for 3 weeks. If I would do that, if I would get off the bicycle for 3 weeks and just let my body completely heal, I would get back on that bicycle and I would smash all of my speed records, and all of my commute time would go down by 10 minutes. Like, I would be a fucking beast on that bicycle if I would stay off of it for 2 to 3 weeks. I would smash my speed. I would get on that bike and I would be so fast, it would blow my mind. I would look down and see my average speed on my speedometer just 5 miles an hour faster than I normally go. I would crush it. I would absolutely crush it if I could take time off to let my body heal. It's the same concept as when we would do soccer practice every year for, when I was on the junior varsity soccer team. We would kill ourselves for the month of August, and into early September we would all want to die and then they would just lay back. Once the season started, they would pretty much cut. We didn't have to do practice anymore. And if we did, we were just doing like basic drills. We weren't doing conditioning anymore. You have to let your body heal. Because if you're just completely worn out all the time, you're going to show up to a game and you're not going to have any energy to do it. And that's what's happening to me right now. My conditioning needs to stop, and I need to let my body heal, and then I'm going to get back on that bicycle and just be like, bam! I'm going to be like, holy shit, I'm fast. And I can tell not just from how I feel, but from the evidence that I'm seeing in my Strava. In my Strava account. So you've got, when you're training with a heart rate monitor, which this is what I have right now, and it does the job, it does what I need to do. I purposely do not push myself. You've got 5 different zones for heart rate. Zone 1 is recovery. It's getting up off the couch to go to the fridge to get some more snacks and walk back to your lazy boy and sit down with a new beer or a bag of Cheetos or whatever the hell you're doing. That's the amount of exercise that zone 1 entails. Zone 2 is kind of like a warm-up, going for a walk. It's 60 to 70% of your maximum heart rate. Zone 1 is about half. So if your maximum heart rate is 176, which that's what they calculate mine to be, divided by 2, you're in like 88 beats per minute. 50 beats per minute for me is about my resting rate when I'm sleeping and stuff. And when I'm sleeping, I think it even goes lower. But if I'm just chilling right now, my heart rate is 66 beats per minute, just sitting here talking to you guys. And that's probably because I was dealing with someone's comment about me being a grifter and how, I'm always pushing my digital chicken bucket, which is located at donate.litgood.com, over and over and over again every time I do a video. So that, my heart rate would probably be in like the 50s if I wasn't all worked up about that. So anyway, I might be in zone 1 right now. I don't know. Zone 2 is like you're just out for a walk, you're chilling, you're not really putting any effort into it. But, zone 3 is like 70 to 80% of your maximum. It's, a challenge, but it's doable. You could sustain that same level of activity for 30 minutes or more if you had to. You're still conserving energy. Zone 4 is when you're starting to really like crank it up. You're out of breath. You can't carry on a conversation anymore because you're just, you know what I mean? You're 80 to 90% of your maximum heart rate. You're sweating. You got sweat pouring down. You're actually working and you're busting your ass. And then zone 5 is like all out. Like you've given it every single thing that you have. You cannot physically push yourself any harder. So typically when I'm on a bike ride to and from the bakery, I stay in zone 3, zone 2. You can almost look, it's almost equal time in both. I really don't go much up into zone 4 on the bike rides to and from the bakery. And if I hit zone 5, the top, like all out, it's only for like a blip, like 30 seconds to a minute at the most on these bike rides. In a bicycle race, that's a different story. That might be mostly in zone 4 and with some stretches into zone 5 and almost nothing in zone 2 in a race. I'm killing myself in a race. But to go to the bakery in zone 4, where I'm just pushing and hammering down for an hour and some change, and then I get there and I'm spent, and now I've got to do an 8-hour shift. I'm like, no. So I'm just commuting. I'm just trying to get there and back at a reasonable time, but I don't want to put effort into the point where when I get there, I have nothing left to give. So you got to balance it out. But I'm looking at a readout from April 7th was a memorable ride for me because I just got the Silver Bullet put together, and I was on my way home from the bakery, and I was killing it. I was going fast the whole way home. In fact, Strava said it was a tough ride. It gave me a 104 relative effort rank, and it's a relative number. It doesn't mean anything until you compare it to other rides. So in zone 1, I was in zone 1 for less than 3 minutes. Zone 2, the moderate, was 34 minutes. Zone 3, I was in it for 32 minutes, 33 minutes. So it split pretty evenly between zone 2 and 3. But I went up into zone 4 for almost 13 minutes of that ride, where I was really hammering down and trying to go as fast as I could. I did not dip up into the zone 5 at all, but there are some other rides around that time period where I would go from zone 4 to zone 5. I'd spend maybe 2-3 minutes in zone 5 on a ride like that, and 12 to 15 minutes in zone 4. And zone 3, most of the ride would be in zone 3. Compare that to last Friday. My relative effort score was a 42 compared to 104. My zone 1, I was in zone 1 for 12 minutes because just barely spinning the pedals and just moving along is going to put you into that. Zone 2, remember, zone 2 is like going for a walk. So zone 1 is getting up to go get a snack from the fridge. You know what I'm saying? So, but my ride on Friday, zone 2, I was in for 2 hours and 3 minutes in zone 2, going for a walk. 0 in zone 3, 4, and 5. My entire ride home last Friday was zone 2 the whole time. And then there's another, so then there's another one of the Friday morning. So Friday night, I had no energy to give. And not only did I know I have no energy, the data right there shows me I could not get out of zone 2 the whole ride home. Normally it takes an hour and a half to get home. It took 2 hours to get home because I had no energy at all. No energy. I never not even for 1 second, went above the slowest pace I can do. Friday morning, I was beat. I was tired. But something happened on my way into work. And so I was going down this one road, and this really hot girl passed me on a bike. And she was all decked out in her cycling gear and her spandex and everything. And she passed me. She's like, on your left. And I'm looking. I'm like, holy shit, it's a woman. And she passed me, and she got in front of me and started going up this overpass over the Grand Parkway. And so I'm riding behind her, and I'm like, I like where I'm at right now. It's a nice view. But I'm like, I can't get beat by a girl. I'm competitive. If somebody passes me and I'm just like, because I was cruising along at zone 2, and I was fine with being in zone 2 all the way to work. But this girl passed me, and I'm like, I'm not getting beat. I mean, I like the fact that this girl's in her spandex outfit and she's right in front of me, and I'm watching. It's like the rabbit in a greyhound race. I just feel like I'm one of the greyhounds chasing after the bunny. But I also can't let this girl get to the top of this. It's called Taco Hill. I can't let this girl get to the top of Taco Hill before I do. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to step it up a notch. And so I spent 51 seconds in zone 4 to pass her and go up to the top of the hill And I just looked at her. I'm like, see you later, honey. And I went up and over Taco Hill and down the other side, and I was hammering because I didn't want her to catch back up to me. It's like I wanted her to catch back up to me, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to get beat by a girl. It's just like the day I got into the race with the guy on the tricycle. I'm like, there's no fucking way I'm letting a guy beat me who's on a tricycle. Like, I'm not even having that. It's not happening. Like, yeah, he got ahead of me because I wasn't paying attention. But I'm like, wait a minute. This guy on a fucking tricycle just passed me. And I passed him back, and I left him in the dust. And he tried keeping up with me, and he did for a while. And I was like, every time I turned around, I'm like, what the fuck, man? He was right there. But I'm like, I'm going to drop him when we get to the steep part of this. There's a little bit of a hill that takes about 45 seconds or so to climb, and when we get to that little hill, I'm gonna leave him in the dust. And I did that day. When I got to the top of the hill and took off down the next part of the trail, he was behind me far enough he wasn't gonna catch back up. But I still had to stay in like zone 3, zone 4 for a while to get him off my back. And so I did the same thing when the girl passed me. I kicked it into zone 4 just so that I didn't get beat by a girl to get to the top of the hill. I just couldn't do it. I had to pass her. And as much as I would like to stay behind her, I wanted to pass. I just couldn't let her beat me. So get to the top of the hill, I go down the other side, and now I'm in competitive mode. I ended up going for 10 minutes in zone 3 on my way to work, even though I have no energy at all, just because I don't want to get passed by a girl again. And then I look back a few times and I'm like, oh, she's gone. She's gone. Like, she's nowhere to be found. I'm like, okay, I'll slow back down. I went the whole rest of the way to the bakery in zone 2, going slow. But that little bit of effort made it so that it took me less time to get there. But it was still a pretty slow ride. If I look at the April 7th ride, was way faster, but it wasn't my fastest. I can't find my fastest, but my fastest commute to and from the bakery was something like an hour, between an hour and an hour 10 minutes was the fastest I would do it. An hour and 20 to an hour and a half from where I used to live. That was what it would take me most days, but there was a couple of times I got under an hour 10. And I can't find those to see like how much, where the heart rate landed on the graph in order to do that. But so when I look at like my rides recently over the last few weeks, especially since I moved here, my heart rate is down in the lower zones because I just don't have any more energy to give. I'm completely just burned out. And so I'm just doing it. I'm putting my feet on the pedals and pushing the bikes, but I'm not putting any effort into it. My body can't do it right now. And I'm at a point where I really need rest. I need 3 weeks off the bikes. I've been doing this for months, day after day after day. If I go to Strava right now, and I look at my graph for the months, I barely go. I mean, sometimes I go 4 days without a bike ride. But, I'm looking at this whole graph for the whole year, starting in February, March, April, May, June. I don't go. It's just, 589, 530, 399, 353 each month. I mean, that's the level of training that a professional cyclist would go 100 miles a day, day in and day out. But this is the level of training that somebody who races regularly would go through. Possibly less, but I'm not getting the recovery time that I need between it. So I'm not losing weight. I'm kind of plateaued. I've just kind of hit a weight and I've stuck to it. Part of it's the diet, part of it's just being worn out. So I feel like, I don't know, I'm going to get today, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday off. And then I only have to cycle to work on Saturday and Monday. So that should, I'll feel better by Saturday than I feel today. Saturday morning, I'll feel fine. I won't even have any issues on the bike ride. It's going to be Monday coming home that I'm going to feel anything if I feel it. But I'm feeling worse and worse over time just because I'm not getting recovery that I need. I need a significant amount of time to not do this and to just sleep and rest and let my body heal. And when I get there, when I finally reach that point where my body recovers, then I can get on a bicycle and I'm going to be fucking fast. I'm going to be way faster. The first ride on a bike, if I don't ride a bike for 3 weeks, will be the fastest ride I've done all year for sure. It'll be the fastest. If I rode all the way to the bakery, in the right scenario, I could average 25 miles an hour the whole way in instead of 15 to 20. If I was fresh and recovered and let all the gains of strength work their way into my muscles and stuff without being torn up and feeling like crap every day. The recovery time is just as important as the training time. In fact, if you were a serious racer, you would study your body to the point where you know, okay, stop training today, rest. Do a quick little warm-up tomorrow, and the race is the day after that. You would know how many days to take off completely. Just don't do shit. Don't even go for a walk. Let your body completely heal. Then do a little warm-up ride, like a quick little ride around the block, or a short ride. Like for me, a short ride would be like 5 miles, 10 miles. Just work your legs. Just get your body. Don't even push yourself extremely hard. Just warm up the body, warm up the legs, just get yourself, break a little bit of a sweat and then be done. And then the next day is a race and you're gonna go out there and just kill it because you're gonna feel completely fresh and energetic and stronger than you've ever been because your body repaired itself after you put it through hell conditioning it. So I've kind of put my body through hell in the conditioning side of things, but I'm not giving it the rest that it needs in order to build from where I'm at. And it's kind of like, so I'm not recovering from what I'm doing. And it's building up over time, slowly. And I feel it. And I don't just feel it, I see it. When I look at the data from a ride, let's see, a little warmer. How fast did I go there? Yeah, so like back in February, I just picked a random one in February. I spent 60% of my time in zone 3. And I even went into zone 4 for a minute and a half. I just pick another random one from March. Let's see, because it started to get warmer in March. Let's go to April, because it was really like, Silver bullet won't slow you down, don't even think about it, breach of contract, still in hot water, tired, okay. Here's one where I said I'm tired. The title of the ride was tired, okay. I spent most of my time in zone 2 that day. In fact, very little time in zone 3. A minute 33 in zone 3, and nothing above that. Burned out. Here's one where I said I was burned out. Same thing, almost no time in zone 3. Like you can tell, not only do I feel it without the data, but the data backs up exactly what I'm saying and what I'm feeling, and when you look at the data. I'm just looking at some random rides. Here's one where I spent 35% in zone 3, so it was a little faster of a ride, but not super fast. tricycle race. Here's one where I probably went faster. Here's the race again. When I got into a race with the guy on the tricycle. Let's see what happened. Oh shit, yeah. 58% of my time was zone 2 because I started out that ride just a chill ride, but then I spent half an hour in zone 3, and I spent 7 minutes and 20 seconds in zone 4, which is really pushing it. That 7 minutes and 20 seconds was the tricycle race. 7 minutes and 20 seconds sounds about right. That's about how long I was racing the guy on the tricycle. And the 23 seconds that I spent in zone 5 giving it everything I had was going up that hill climb at the end of the tricycle race where I left him in the dust. I mean, I can tell you, I could look on the damn, I don't even have to look, but I can look on the graph where I see the heart rate next to the route. And where is it? Come on, show me the heart rate. The app is totally different on the wait a minute, blow that up. And then, come on, there's a way to see where I was, where the heart, there is a way to do it. There's a way to see your heart rate, and there's a way to see what your heart rate was next to the map, but it's not showing up here. Here we go. Okay, here is where it is. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you exactly where the heart rate went up, and I'm guarantee you it was during there's my heart rate just shooting through. Yeah, it's exactly what it was. The heart rate went up going up and over Taco Hill, which is an overpass over a major highway, and it goes up and back down. It looks like a taco. If you were looking at it from the side, it's just boop. It's like a half circle. It goes up because that's there isn't hills. There aren't hills in Houston. But there's this one little, Taco Hill, my heart rate went up a little bit, 160 beats per minute at the top. But then here's the tricycle race, and I'm pretty much at, 175 right there, 176. Race, and it's right there, 175, 176 is the hill where I left the tricycle guy in the dust. And it's showing me right on the graph that I blew out my heart to do it. I put my heart rate at the maximum it goes, 176 beats per minute, to beat the guy on the tricycle. And then I slowed down and went back to a chilly pace after I put him in the dust and rode the rest of the way into work without really, but the whole time I'm racing the guy on the tricycle, my heart rate was way up there because I was actually trying. So that's just like, if I was in a race, if I was in an actual bike race, the readout would be completely different than the readout would be completely different if I was in a bicycle race versus a commute to a job, because I would be putting a lot more effort into it. And I wouldn't care about how I felt when I get done with the race. So I think that's one thing that if I do get a car, I might start going to more like group rides and things like that, where maybe it's not a race, but I find a group of people who ride fast and maybe make some bicycling friends around Houston and get into some fast group rides where my heart rate gets pushed up because I'm trying to keep up with everybody and maintain the pace that the group is set. And so find a good pace that pushes me out of my comfort zone. And actually that would do a lot more to train me to be faster and better than just the constant back and forth commute pace. But I can't really, I definitely can't put the level of effort into these commute rides that a race would involve, because I'd get to the job and I wouldn't be able to do the job. I'd get home from the job after a ride like that and not be able. I could barely walk last night. I sat in my chair for about an hour, and I went up to go to the bathroom, and I almost fell down. I stood up out of the chair and my legs gave out, and I had to grab onto something to keep from falling. It was that it was that bad. My body just stiffened up. I had sore, just completely sore from the workout, and I didn't even work out that much. It's just the whole body just, I'm tapped, and today I'm tapped out. Today I'm feeling so bad. It's already 1:30 in the afternoon here, and I've got some things done. I've got more things I want to do after I hit stop on this video, but I don't even have a video for today to post. I have to edit something and get it up there real quick. So I've got a ton of stuff to do today, and I have no energy. And it's really this bicycling commute, this job. It's too much. It's too much. It's bringing me down. Things are getting better. Life is getting better. My surroundings are getting better. I came home once again, no living bugs, but there was a dead spider on the middle of the bathroom floor, all just curled up and dead. A spider that looked like I didn't want anything to do with. If it was small, but it looked, when they're colored a certain way, that like when a spider can have really bright exotic colors and not have to try and camouflage itself, that means you don't want to fuck with it. Because when a spider looks like it's going to the gay bar, like, hey, I'm fabulous, look at all my bright colors, that means it's full of poison, and you probably don't want to get bit by that thing. The ones that aren't really harmful, they tend to blend in and camouflage themselves a little more. But it's just like with snakes. If you see a really bright snake that's just like, hey, stay the fuck away. Because that one's the one that's going to kill you. That's why they can have all those bright colors and just be flashy and not have to try and hide, because that's not something you want to fuck with. They know that they're the badass thing out in the yard. They don't need to try and blend in because they're dangerous. You need to stay the fuck away from them. You need to hide and be camouflaged from them. So anyway, yeah, there was this little spider that I'm like, from the looks of that spider, I'm glad he didn't make it. He must have got in here somehow, walked across the wrong part of the floor, and just, it's over, game over. So that spray is working. I don't see anything on the floors today, last night, except for the spider. So I'm good. I was just about to order the caulk kit and the silicone caulk to start sealing up different things that need to be patched up here so nothing comes in through the cracks. But I knew that I'm like, I got to do a couple of things and see how much money I actually have now that I've been paid. So I only did the things that had to be done, like the mailbox out front, the bicycle lube. I ordered brake pads because my other bike, the brake pads are leaving on that one. But I just changed the brake pads in March on the Red Rocket, and they need to be replaced again. And I'm like, man, it's only been 3 months. It's barely been 3 months since I put new brake pads on that bike, and they're worn. The back brakes are worn almost down to the posts. Front brakes are a little better off, but I'll replace all 4 and just put the ones, I'll throw them in a bag, and if I need in a pinch, I need to throw on some brake pads, I'll have some extra pads to just toss on. If I need to, if I'm broke and I need to get another few weeks out of a brake pad. But the rear brakes on this Red Rocket are down, they're ground down almost to the point where it's metal on metal. And I'm like, I just did this 3 months ago and I got to do it again. But then I looked and I'm like, well, it was like 1,600 miles ago. So 1,600 miles on a set of bicycle brake pads, that's pretty standard. That's about what you get, and they're only like $12 a pair, so it's about $25 to get 4 new pads. But I ordered them today when I saw how bad my brakes are, so now I've got 2 bikes with bad brakes. Except the Red Rocket's not grinding metal on metal yet, and I could probably I can probably ride that bike exclusively until the brake pads come and not get down to the bare metal. I've gotten down to the bare metal on those pads, so I know I've got some time, but I had to order the brake pads because it's not something Amazon can do next day delivery on. It's probably going to take a week from today. They're probably not going to show up in the mail until next week. If I'm lucky, they might be here Friday or Saturday this week. If I'm lucky, it could happen. At which point, I have to make Sunday bicycle maintenance day and do brake pad changes across both bikes. And it won't take long, but it adds up. And I'll have to do some other things while I'm doing that, clean up the bikes and just, all the general other maintenance that goes along with it that I'm just going to do because it's time to do it. But that adds up too, these bicycle maintenance days. They take away, I can't go to church on bicycle day because I need all the time I need to do that. And Sunday's really the only day I can do it. So it's just like all these different things just keep swirling around and getting in the way. And so it is going to be a priority of mine to make a move on that car. I just have to get past my next rent payment and figure out get some more invoices out in there and just get myself paid. And I should be all right. But timing was just bad. Timing was bad. If the car had come in like the beginning of March, I would have already done it. I would have did it. But after that douchebag landlord made it so that I had to put everything I had into moving, and then right when I find a new place to live, this guy shows up and says, "Hey, I got a car. You just have to get it shipped." I'm like, I wish I could do it right now, and at the time I could have, but financially I had to put everything I have into this move. It just, such is life. So one way or another, I'm gonna get this done, but that'll change my life. That'll put energy back in my gas tank for sure. For sure. Even if I don't drive every day, even if I still use the bicycles so that I don't, lose fitness. When it goes from when bicycling becomes something that I want to do, I do because I want to, and because the car's in the shop, those are the 2 reasons. That'll change everything. When I bicycle because I have to and I have no other choice, and when I go grocery shopping, I either have to walk to the grocery store with a 50-pound backpack to bring home or get groceries delivered, which I'm gonna need to do that this week. I was light on the groceries for the last month that I lived in the tool shed, and for the first couple of weeks here at the new place, I was just really light on the groceries to save money. And so like I'm down to where I can't build up a stockpile. I have plenty of food. I don't have to do it. I can get through the rest of this week and eat just fine, but I'm running out of certain things like the healthy stuff like salads and things like that. And so now I'm in like the rebuilding phase of my food supply. Moving sucks, man. Moving sucks. But once you get settled in, once you get into a rhythm with it, it calms down. When I moved to Houston to live with my friend where I wasn't even paying rent, money was just disappearing from my bank so fast that my head was spinning. And then after that first month or so, pretty much all the money that I made went into the bank and didn't leave the bank. I had everything I needed. And so I was just saving and saving and saving. Then I moved into the tool shed. For the first month of the tool shed, money was just leaving so fast. I couldn't do anything about it. I need this. I got to get that. I want this. I got to do that. This unexpected thing, blah, blah, blah. And it all just went out the door. And then the second month was a little more chill. And then the third month was even more chill, February, March. But then I had to move. But by the time April got here, things had chilled out immensely, but then I had to put everything I had into, so I was able to save, but all that money that I saved got thrown out the door when I had to move. And so now I've moved, and now the first month of living here has just been like, oh my God, I gotta do that. I gotta get a mailbox and put it outside the door. I need brake pads for both bikes. Crap. I got these fucking bugs. I gotta go and deal with the bug issues. And I need shelves to put my stuff on. And I'm getting a TV too because I want to do one fun thing this month. One thing that's fun. Everything else is just because I have to. I have to eat. Crap. I got to get something to hang up my bikes so that they're not in the way. And I'm not leaving my bicycles outside. They'll get destroyed. So I've got them on I bought a bicycle rack. You saw it in the walkthrough video. It all adds up. But there will be a time within the next couple of months where I can't do anything expensive here at the house because I filled it. I need to get a bed. I want to get a couch. I need to get a bed. I want to get a little 2-seat couch and an ottoman. I want to get a little workspace behind me over here for the bicycle, like a little bike shop, little tiny little workshop bike shop. That's kind of a 50-50 necessity, and that's between a need and a want. I don't need it, I want it, but it would be useful to have. So I've got all this written down. I've got goals. I want to get a car, need to get a car. That's a need more than a want. But I moved down here in September. I haven't had a car since the day I got here. So if I went that far, how much farther can I go without a car? But I have a car that I can get. Just got to make it happen. So July is going to be a rebuilding month. June has just been like, holy shit, just get through it in one piece month. Just like whatever chaos comes, deal with it. And I'm like, I'll take you on a tour of the place. It's coming along. But there's some things, like I'm looking at I've got 2 power strips daisy chained together and then Velcro strapped to a shelf and then a bunch of random cables hooking up a TV to a speaker. And it's all just ghetto. It's crap. So I have that. I told you I have a power outlet that needs to be rewired, so I need to figure out if I can put a power outlet where there's this wall outlet cover, and then there's a power outlet. There's 2 of them with power outlets in them, and if the wire is active, I can replace the outlets that are in them with outlets that work. If the line to the power outlet box is not even active, then there's nothing I can do about it. Then I'm not going to be able to put an outlet there. But a tester would do that for me. I got to get an extension cord just so that it's not so ghetto. It's just everywhere I look, I see a project that needs to be done. But at the same time, I went to bed on Sunday, and when it was time for me to just sit back and chill for a minute on Sunday night, I looked around and I'm like, this place looks better and is more organized and is more clean and is more like, I got my shit together way better today than any other day since I've been in this house. So it's all moving forward and I like the progress. So I'm not beating myself up over what hasn't been done, because I look around and I see what has been done and what continues to be done, and I'm cool with that. But when I look around and I see all the things that I want to do and I need to do, it just adds to the stress of feeling behind on everything in life. And some of that I'm gonna blame on, dealing with a shitty slumlord who took 5 months out of my life and ruined them. I'm not going to take the blame for all of it. I could only do so much. February, March, April, and May, 4 months, we're dealing with that slime ball and not really being able to get a foothold. Now I feel like I have a foothold. I feel like I have a foundation to start from now. In spite of the problems that have popped up in the last 25 days, I feel like I can manage this place and I can stay here for a minute. And hopefully I can stay here for the term of the lease, and the only reason I would even try to get out of the lease would be if something really better comes along. And it would be worth it. But otherwise, I'm going to make this place work and try to make this place as nice as I can make it and as comfortable as I can make it, and just relax into everything and start really trying to push life ahead, go to the next level. I feel like, you go from level 5 to level 6. I had to beat the boss at the end of level 5. That was a challenge. But then the next level, you can cruise for a little while in the video game before you get to where level 6 becomes really challenging. And I'm kind of in that. I'm cruising right now. There's a few challenges, a few lava pits I had to figure out how to jump over, and a swing that rope I had to swing across the tar pit on, step on a few alligator heads to get over the next tar pit, whatever, jump on a log. I'm the frog trying to cross the road with all the traffic, and then I get to the creek and I gotta hop from one log to the next and get to where my frog gets to be in the little slot. But then the next level, once you only have one slot left for the, if the first frog gets to pick from 6 different slots to finish the level, it's easier. But when you get down to where there's only one and you got to get the frog in that slot or you die, it's a lot harder. So as level 6 continues, it's going to get harder and harder. But right now I'm kind of in that cruise mode, and it feels nice. But, I've had to hop across a few, I've had to go through crazy traffic, and I've had to hop on a few alligator heads and some logs to get, to get things moving since I moved in here. And so hopefully it just continues to get better. Overall the trend keeps going up in spite of what the trolls have to say, and that's fine. Let them get butthurt and mad, and let that one asshole keep making up new Google accounts just so he can come leave some shitty comment on one of my videos and get deleted again. Go for it, dude. And we'll just be, I'm just gonna go from there. So with that, I don't really got much else to talk about today. I'm just gonna say peace out, and we'll talk again later.